Stice tonight alongside my boy, Dr. Kent Bazard, and we are at episode 61 of the Sup'm Show. And today we're talking about get rich quick schemes because there seems to be a mass race towards making money as fast as possible. I mean, people are risking it all. Not that it's anything new. Hey, Doc. Um, people have
Nothing
been
new.
Yeah, people have been giving themselves like one last chance at life and living just for the sake of making an additional dollar. Most
And
recently, we
will
had the go ahead
and will risk their lives, freedom, and dignity
and
for a
dignity.
quick buck.
Most recently, we have the hey, you know what? And I have to say before I go any further, I'm on the fence. I understand people's hustle. I do not understand people's dishonesty. So there's a certain type of get rich quick scheme that I really detest, and then there's the ones that I find have been a route by which many respectful, not even people, but entire races
Hmm.
have used in order to benefit financially from, um, and that's just the way it's been, right? Either you play the game or you lose at life in a sense, so to speak, because we ain't reach heaven yet. So the- we just living in a world of a bunch of outlaws, a bunch of gangsters, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, we like to call it. You heard called on TV shows the American dream, but it's really it's really goes beyond that, and it's probably existed long before there was even such a thing as America. I mean, there's always been people who've wanted to get rich and make as much money as fast as possible, by any means necessary. The fastest route was always the best route. The more, the better. And it always seemed interesting to me that up until I think very recently, most times those ways, those get rich quick schemes were illegal for the most part.
Yeah,
Most of them.
yeah, yeah. But let me start. Let me start here. Let me start with what's most recent that I saw was a get rich quick attempt. A recent armor truck robbery. I understand. $1.5 million, and was gone. They was winning. I mean, I don't understand the full depths of the story because I'm not in the zone, but apparently they were caught. They found out to be ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about there's a group of a team. This was a now you see me, now you don't team who successfully robbed a an armor truck. And what was funny to me, the first sign of it, Kent, was when I saw on in my feed. I think it was my Instagram feed, a post from the central bank saying that
Right.
a number of bills had been stolen, and we are to look out for these so sad stolen bills. And I was like, look out for what? It
Yeah, I mean
gone.
they got to be crazy if they think the small businessman gonna actually look on serial numbers now. They got to be crazy.
I know, like I'm gonna see $100 bill with a serial number that y'all missing. I can say, "Oh, I have to go and turn this in."
But
Though,
I understand. I understand that they catch the guys up.
yeah, and I think it's fortunate that they caught them because crime does not pay, depending on the color. Yes, let me don't go there too early in the show. Um, yeah, so we have certain other situations, whereas there are people that. Let's go back to the beginning. In my research, way back, um, in the 1600s, they had it wasn't really. I find I'm talking about the tulip mania, where tulips,
Okay.
there's some pretty flowers. They were out of the Ottoman Empire, and they became very popular in the Netherlands. And I think it lasted a few years, like 1630. 34 or 37 or something like that, and they ended up selling flowers, bro. Flower bud was being bought for what it would cost to build a little mansion back in
Really?
those days. Yeah. So now tying this into types of get rich quick schemes, I won't call them crimes. I'll call them get rich quick schemes.
No, they're not all crimes.
Right. I kind of like I get, I don't agree with, but if you popularize something to the extent whereas people feel as though they need to spend their children in order to buy it, right? Good for you, you get the money. Now, the armored truck robbers, right? That would have been who who in DC? That would be Penguin and anyway, no,
Probably
but a
Riddler.
part of me, huh?
I would say Riddler.
A part of me was like, and it's wrong. A part of me was like, because I see so many people get away with basically with murder, basically
Yeah,
with with like how banks take homes after they've already gotten twice their money over in mortgage, and
right.
then they take the home and then sell. Like I see these type of dark things happening.
Yeah,
So when someone gets away with something that and no one died, and actually no one lost money because the money is supposed to be insured. You understand me? Like if they
yeah.
were smart enough to rob it, I was like, kind of, oh, good for y'all. And then when they got arrested, it's like, good for them again. Because you shouldn't get away with things like that. But I don't think anybody should get away. You know what I mean? Like
Agree.
most people out here are doing the right thing, and you look at just how many people are doing the wrong thing, and they just straight up winning.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what makes you want to jump ahead to get ahead. And I mean, even
Yeah,
as even as a people, you can look at the fact that most of us feel, whether right or wrong, is another show, but most of us feel that we are given kind of the short end of the stick from the beginning. So we tend to feel like whatever, we should be given a kind of a pass
yeah,
to 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 behave in certain ways, especially the illegal behaviors, um, to get ahead. And unfortunately, some people turn to these type of things as their only way out. They see it as the only way out, you know. Um, but a lot of people criticize the Bible, but the Bible is a very interesting book, I mean, or
very,
group
very
of book
interesting.
group of books. But in Proverbs, it tells you in Proverbs, there's a proverb that says that wealth attained very quickly will just as soon disappear, and
Yep,
wealth that is achieved through hard work and planning and dedication is hangs around longer or lasts longer. Um, and you see that evident so much times if you look at the curse of the lottery winners. So many lottery
yeah,
winners end up losing their life or losing their money.
yeah.
It's almost as if these lottery companies, like, they're okay with giving the money away because they don't have to, they usually don't end up paying all of it out because these people either end up in jail. How do you win the lottery and end up in jail? Like, seriously. How do you win the lottery? This guy out in LA, $500 million. How do you end up in jail, bro? Like, seriously, I don't get it. I don't I don't get it. So now no lottery, no money, and you're in jail.
And you're in
Awesome.
jail.
So
So,
I mean, but I've had some unique experiences actually. Um,
all right.
I've had some unique experiences with get rich quick schemes.
I in one right now. So let's
Oh
let
yeah,
me hear yours first.
your sounded more interesting. So
No,
in,
it's a short story. Go ahead.
I've actually been involved in quite a few. These things became very popular. These things became very popular in the 90s for those of us who've been around that time. In the 90s, I was in college in South Florida, in Miami, right?
Right.
And that was the rise of um the Ponzi pyramid scheme era.
Charles
Okay,
Ponzi.
you know,
Go ahead.
and at least I'm not sure when exactly they started, but I know they were very popular in the 90s. Very popular.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
There are people walking the streets trying to sell you stuff. The first one I went to was kind of it was a perfume thing where, and these people are so smart. So they had a perfume, they had these fake perfumes, right?
Right.
And they tell you to come and they tell you all about the perfumes and blah 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 and what they're gonna do with the perfumes and how these are the exact replicas of the originals, right? And so they selected me. They were like, "Hey, you, what's your favorite cologne?" I said, "Well, you
So,
know,
it's like you. All right.
I don't know how they picked me up, but anyway." So they
Uh-huh.
said, "What's your favorite cologne?" They said,
Loose.
"I said at that time my favorite cologne was Fahrenheit."
Okay.
So they said it's still kind of my favorite, but they said, "Okay, come. If you got Fahrenheit," and they spray it on me and I smell it. I said, "Bro, that ain't Fahrenheit." And he was like, "That's Fahrenheit, right? That's Fahrenheit." I said, "Yeah, that's Fahrenheit. Yeah." I was like, "That's not Fahrenheit." But anyway, so they said, "Look, um, we think you can do this and blah blah blah, but we want you to get into this program where you're selling these door to door." And that's essentially what it was. So the test
Right.
was this, and this how they win regardless. At the meeting, they want you to buy 5 boxes of any perfume or cologne. You gotta buy
Right.
5 of them. They were like $10 or $20 each. Then they want you to take them home and sell them for your. They say they teach you how to sell it. They teach you to pitch. They teach you all that stuff, and that was good. If there's one thing I learned from all these experiences is that pitch, right? And they teach you how to pitch. They teach you how to, get people's attention, close the deal, how to change people's mind and all the psychology, some of it. And they want you to test it on your family or immediate friends first. That's how they
Okay.
get you. So they say you're gonna make this $100 right back. All you got to do is go to your friends, and they're gonna support you, right? Say sell it to them for $30 each one of them, and you got your money back, and that's the way you make this money. You see, so you're gonna come. So then when you come back, you buy a bigger, like a box or a crate or whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
they want you to sell that.
Do it
All right.
again.
So imagine me, a college student, going around door to door, to door, and I did say college student, didn't I?
Yeah,
I
he was
said
still
college
green.
student. I was about 17 or 18.
He was barely green yet.
So I went around door to door. Sorry, I sell these to my family members, but I didn't like that too much, and my family didn't like it either. So it's like, can't. That's not a job because they actually have it. They had it in the classifies like a job, right?
I
And
got you. Mm-hmm.
I was looking as way for ways to make extra money, but it wasn't
Mm.
really a job because you don't have to go to your
Why
job and
why why
hate.
did you need extra money?
That's a good question.
That's what I'm like why is it like a mass like exodus
I
to
mean, why not?
this this risk? No, but more people are taking the risk. Like more people are buying into it. It almost seems as if like everyone is in dire need for a bit more financial stability, not
Yeah,
even to get rich. Like I see the the average amount of money you have to make per month in order to be average, like financially stable on an average level, not rich, just average. Average meaning you could pay your bills, you can eat, you have a roof over your head and your family, and you could take vacation, right? Average. You transportation, everything, you're okay. You can't ball, but
right,
you could be okay. You know how
right.
much that is a month in the Bahamas? Estimated at $4,050 a
Mm,
month. So you look at what the cost of living is right now, and you kind of figure that okay, people in a hustle to be average. And that's just the way it is. Life will always be that way, where it's a challenge to survive by the sweat of your brow, if you want to talk about the Bible, right? But now these dudes, them who really want to go the extra mile to be like, you ain't farming no more. You're not inventing anything, and that's another story. You running behind people like how you were doing back in the 90s, which I believe would have been that Jordan Belfort dude, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm,
Um, Actually, no, that was the Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme. That was his thing. That dude ended up getting 150 years in prison, Mr. Bernie, right? And his thing was lasting for decades, so it would have been straight through the 90s. It didn't crash until like 2008, when they had that financial crisis, the global financial crisis, and people decided that, oh, okay, I have this money in this system, and I want to withdraw it. And then he wasn't able to give everybody their money who was asking to have to withdraw from their accounts, and he ended up going to jail. And 150. But back in the 20s is when the Ponzi scheme, but in fact, the Ponzi scheme is named after Charles Ponzi,
right.
who was a dude, an Italian man. And I feel like, no offense to all of my Italian friends, and I have many, but something has happened when Italians come to this side of the world. Like, look what they did with pizza. Look what they did with Chef Boyardee. Like that spaghetti, that real spaghetti. Like when you go to Italy and you have pizza, it ain't like the Dom or these other places. That ain't pizza. You feel me? So it's like you get certain things going on in the brain, but you do these things to make a quick dollar, to make more money. And you sell whatever it is that you need to sell, and pitch however it is you need to sell it in order to get it done. Now, this scheme that I'm tied up in has to do with cryptocurrency. You can't tell me to see no scheme. I don't understand what's happening with crypto right now. But I bought some cryptocurrency, and every week these people telling me that we about to be rich. And that's been going on for the past 3 years. So the answer,
Uh,
Ruckus, I guess I am looming.
and and Ruckus is saying my wife tossed me under the bus,
No, no, man.
but and she claims that I don't listen to her, and I don't know why she says that. But
Well,
the
go
first
ahead.
time, the cryptocurrency thing came up, I said, first of all, I married an accountant for a reason. That's why you're my wife, because I married you for a reason. I married an accountant for a reason.
Not up
Okay,
here.
I am not a financial genius, so I married one. Okay. Secondly, she said, don't listen. When she mentioned your same crypto thing, you know what she told me? Stay away. And what did Ken do? Can't stay away.
Why? Oh, you did.
Of course, I didn't buy $1 because she said it doesn't make sense and it's going to crash. She told me
See
this
that
three or
fee?
four. It was like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So I said, well, she said, don't buy it. I'm not buying it. I don't see why. I didn't understand why, but she said, don't buy it. So guess who ain't buying it? Me. So I
You
didn't
ain't
buy
buying
it.
it.
So I listened.
Yes. Yeah, that sound deep. Um, yeah, I think I had, but I'm not heavy into it. Like, um, I don't regret taking the risk. It's just like going to a casino. You go to a casino and you ball some money. You take risks. You have to if you wanna if you want. In fact, most wealth comes from taking great risk. The rich, one of the
That's
wealthy,
true.
yeah, one of the
Unfortunately true.
wealthy dudes in our era, from in our what do you call it, our age bracket,
Mhm.
used to do some random things. I mean, he talks about it now. He talks about how he used to program the satellite cards You know what I mean? And play like
Uh,
a lot of people was doing that in the Bahamas, and that wasn't legal. I
no,
mean, you understand what I'm saying? So it's like you do these things, and with that first set of income, you able to invest. Hopefully, you link up with a smart, finance savvy wife or girlfriend, make her your wife, and you make some investments with that money, and then you clean that all up. Your act is entirely clean, and that's how a lot of these wealthy people are today. You look at some of the rich people in the Bahamas who who got their money through bootlegging when alcohol
yep.
was illegal. You look at marijuana now, where we got to let a whole bunch of people out of prison because it ain't long now before they make that legal in the Bahamas, and it's illegal. It's legal here in so many other places, the U.S. and Canada and the Netherlands. I think all of their drugs legal. So get rich quick schemes though. Let's hit this back. Like I was thinking, what are some like almost easy routes to making money right now that I see a lot of people taking? And one of those things is like that race for a seat in parliament. Now, I don't know. I
Well,
don't know. I don't
you
know.
know, the Bahamian culture, the Bahamian um, ecosystem is extremely unique. It's extremely unique. Um, because something like that, which sounds somebody in another country might hear what you just said, and that could be like in Canada, for example. Canada is huge. There are millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. So to say I'm going to get a seat in Parliament is crazy. It's almost crazy to say that because the odds are unbelievable. Whereas in this country, which is almost as rich as Canada, or sorry, our GDP is almost as high as Canada, third after
Yep.
Canada. Um, will you can say that, and that's not that far to achieve. Say, oh, let me run for. That's not hard to achieve here. It's just very easy to do comparatively to the United States or Canada. And the reason why you're saying that, for those who are listening, the reason why you're saying that is because once you get in a position like that, some persons tend to take advantage of that position and insert themselves into the fast track or their
To
family
make money.
members to make money on a. And some people, that's their only reason for getting into politics is to get
Yeah.
rich.
Yep.
That's the
Yep.
reason, to get rich quick, get into politics, make some money, and get out and live your life.
It's another scary um I would say career choice that, and I don't want to seem anti anything because I'm not anti. I probably am. Just that I have to say that probably means that I have a disliking for certain things, but I see church as another get rich quick for some people.
Again, unique to the Bahamian culture. Not unique, but I'm saying unique
Right.
about the Bahamian culture. Probably, yeah, you're right. Not only the Bahamian culture. It's big church. The big church money making. I don't want to call it a scheme, but it's the ultimate pyramid scheme. I think if it's mishandled and abused, and many so-called pastors or religious leaders have been put in jail for fraud and tax evasion and things like that. So when for me the telltale sign, and I was actually looking up earlier this week some telltale signs of a pyramid scheme, and the telltale sign, one of them is, when you see only
The last
when you
one's still
see
selling, bro, like at high rates. I
Ruckus,
thought
we trying to
I
have
thought
an
that was
adult we trying to have an adult show this week, man. We trying to have a mature show discussion talking about finance and business, man, politics. What are you talking about?
Man, you got a point though. But yeah.
No, he's right, but I'm saying we having a grown up conversation today. All right, so 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 we're trying to get on Forbes, man. We're trying to get Forbes to pay attention to. All right, listen. They're not going to pay attention to us if you're saying pom pom. You can't say pom pom on Forbes, Ruckus. Anyway,
So yeah,
so
get these get rich quick schemes. Yeah.
the get rich quick schemes. So they said one of the things to look out for is if the person's at the very top of the pyramid, the money is supposed to trickle down. It's supposed to. Meaning,
Right.
yes, the person at the top will be the richest always. But as he gets richer, the rest are supposed to get richer. Till eventually the ones at the bottom were as rich as he was. He's just now past their level. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But the what do you call it? The sign is when you see that person getting richer, or the person's at the top getting richer and the person at the bottom,
Right.
they're not. They're not increasing. So
Right.
there you so there you see that something is definitely going on. That money is skipping them, and similar to how the money kind of skips the middle class sometimes, and and only reaches those persons at the top. You know, so yeah, so you gotta so talking about church.
Fox.
He's right. He's right. Prosperity message is not behaving. He's right. The prosperity
Fox.
message is prosperity gospel is not behaving. You're right. We adopted it. But talking about prosperity gospel, when you see only one person in the church prospering, that's when you should start to get suspicious. And you know, one of the reasons why people people sit uneasily in our church is because our pastor would call out these things, and he would call out these people who driving
Mm-hmm.
around in these big cars, and
Mm-hmm.
your members are suffering. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he calls them out. So you know, but that's religion is a whole other thing. But get rich quick scheme in the Bahamas, open a church. Yeah, that's actually on the list. That's on the list in this country.
High on the list. But the allure, like what is I think what is attractive, and the harder things become, the more attractive, I guess, the opportunity or the chance at making a quick dollar becomes. Because if you look at what's happening now, and this is something that I want us and the rest of the team to really look into, and take our time with this topic when we do discuss it, and that is the topic of what's going on in Israel and Palestine, and also how we move on to this um, situation outside of, no one's talking about Russia and Ukraine anymore, but
Is that over? Is it over?
that there's a lot of speculation in regards to why why it was supported the way it was supported by NATO and other countries, and how those countries are now pulling support. I don't know, the closer they get to elections or whatever the case may be. But the reality and the fact of the matter is, again, get rich quick schemes. And this is why I say I celebrate some of the little hustlers, who trying to come up with a way to make a quick dollar without hurting anybody, or actually, like, I don't respect. Let me finish one thought. Yeah, when we discuss war is a get rich quick scheme, bro. And it is the nastiest, most grotesque. Well, it's not. Slavery is the most nastiest, most grotesque get rich scheme ever. But
So
war,
tell me tell me about war.
anytime, you know how much missiles cost?
Couple million, 100 million.
And you know how many missiles are fired, bullets, weapons, um, tanks, aircrafts, um, uniforms, bro, shoes. We get down to, you have your army gear. There's a company that gets those contracts, and they have the ability to tap in to a seemingly endless faucet of money. So now I was talking about how I would celebrate the small hustlers who can make a dollar by selling some. Let me go back. Let me so it could seem culturally balanced. Who would, back when rum running was illegal, who would sell the rum to make money? I can respect that. People actually want the rum. No one really wants war. You understand what I'm saying? People really want the weed. So to do it selling weed on the side of the road, people want weed. They come into him for product. Nobody wants war. You feel me? So
Mhm.
I detest war, but I could understand why some other people do what they do, like the armored car robbers. I don't think it's right, because then you get into
But it's
that
like, well, I don't mean to butt in, but what I mean is,
oh,
but what I'm trying to say
definitely, but
is, what I'm trying to say is, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But not all these guys are Robin Hood or
that's what I was about to say.
some type of hero.
Yeah.
Those idiots who robbed the armored truck got caught because one of them decided to buy a $50,000 watch or something, or $30,000 watch, right? It's $30,000 something. They tried to buy some elaborate piece
Yeah.
of jewelry, and that's how they got caught. You see, and when you pull up to John Bull with 30 grand in cash, um, especially if you're kind of young looking, they can check you out. All
Yeah.
right, this is the
On John
Bahamas.
Bull, of course they could check you out.
They can check you out. They may not check you out in another country, but in this country, they can check you out. And
Yeah.
especially since you just had a robbery anyway.
Yes.
The asylum only 21 by 7. They are going to check you out. But what I'm saying is, not all these guys are Robin Hood. The idea, these dudes wanted to ball with $1 million. And I
Yeah.
mean, kind of jumping to a conclusion, but he didn't take the 20 or 30 grand and give it to the poor or buy turkeys for Thanksgiving or invest in Bitcoin. He didn't do none of that.
No.
He went to a store and bought something for himself.
And then you also have the people on the side selling the dope to kids. And you also have people who are selling rum to underage people. You have these things that happen, that shine a dark light on the money chase. But ultimately it's a money chase. And if you look at the mafia, you look at boy,
So
I
why
just
not?
keep
So
wanting to say,
why is rum running okay then? If I want to pick at it and I say a few years back I wanted to open a liquor store, and my father, I took the idea of my dad, and he was against it, vehemently against it, because he said he didn't want a family name associated with alcohol or liquor.
hmm,
Me, who enjoy a fine drink at least once a week, right? So I mean, the reason being because there's a negative connotation with excessive. Really, I guess with owning a liquor store, saying you're feeding into you're feeding into those persons who tend to abuse it. So so if we against the drug guy, shouldn't we be against the guy who owned the liquor store?
yes, but see, the whole it's like what they're doing all over the world now, which is when they put laws in place, and they're able to oh, what's the word? It's an R word. Um when they make it legal, when they're able to put things in place, whereas it can be policed properly.
Regulation.
Or let me put it to you like this: where the right, not the white, the right people can profit from it,
Mm.
then you see things pass through. Because when it comes to drugs, you got two big drugstores. You got the illegal one and you got the legal one.
Okay.
And both are drugs, but there are that you as a doctor, you understand that there's a protocol, there's a certain type of you get held accountable for what you prescribe to your patients,
All right.
but you don't get hold accountable to to do it on the side of the road who's selling the dope or selling the heroin, the crack is whack, the cocaine. He's not held by any type standard, so he don't give a crap who he give it to. He don't care who get lace. He don't care who ends up losing their minds. He don't care who ends up losing their jobs, their families, whatever it is. Okay, there's no accountability. So when you have that type of situation, now the same thing happens on the other side because you as a doctor, you know that there are some drugs that people get addicted to. There are some drugs that have adverse effects on people, but they
Mhm.
still allowed to use them regardless of. But they give the warnings. Yes,
Yeah.
you tell them about, you warn them about what can happen, and then you pretty much, okay, now take two of them. Give me whatever the drugs cost, and you move through. So everybody on this money making hustle.
But I have to say again, doctor, it's not a get rich quick scheme. Like it's not.
No, it's no,
It's not.
not being a doctor is a doctor, I would say, is way more like. I just watched a show, and this is based on a true story where there's a family where the father was interested in making medicine that was going to help people. He died and left it to his children. The children now own the company, and the children are now only interested in making as much money as they possibly can. So they don't give a crap how safe the drugs is. They spend whatever they can in order to make people believe that the drugs were fine, they were safe. They got their endorsements of I think of um, a what do you call them? Oh, that's another thing. We just celebrated Remembrance Day in Canada. We celebrated in the Bahamas too, where everybody wearing the poppy. But you have these war veterans who get put on these medications, and if they picked a war veteran, bro, pump him up this medicine that helped his symptom, but it ruined his brain or something like that. It threw it, and they knew it was bad. They knew he was going to have some type of desensitization, and he was biting into his fingers and doing all type of crazy stuff. But they didn't say nothing because they just wanted to make the dollar. So you look at the pharmaceutical companies that aren't owned by people who care. You understand? There's a lot of people out there. I saw Angela Davis talking about Nike and how, and Michael Jordan, and how they would talk about how well, they would paint themselves as being such a noble company,
Right.
but and they would make noise about that. They would be silent when people start making noise about there not being jobs in America. And there are very little jobs in America because those companies that are making a bunch of money from Americans are making profits by keeping their factories in China.
Right.
So people
And
on that
of
money making
other
hustle.
countries. And other
Yeah,
countries.
and other countries. So we look at these things and we try to say, like who to point the finger at,
So you're
who to
saying
say is
that
bad and who to say is good.
so you're saying that persons who look at these situations, especially, and it's probably even more pronounced in the poor
Facts,
persons and maybe the black community.
Hmm.
Um, these persons look at these things, and when they get the opportunity to sell some perfume for some what do you call it, bootleg perfume, uh, for half the price of the real one, and make some
Hmm.
profit off it, they'll jump on it because they'll justify it by saying, "Hey, Nike makes money doing X, Y, Z. So why can't I order? I could go right online and buy Nike Air Max from Alibaba and put my logo on it, and buy 1,000 pairs and sell them myself. So why not do
Yeah.
that? But I don't think that's a get rich. I still don't think that's a get rich quick scheme. I think
Well, at
that
that level, that's a stay rich quick. That's a stay rich forever
I
scheme,
think I
right?
think I think a I think a person who's
That's
willing.
business.
I think we should establish some criteria for get rich quick scheme. I think that in a get rich quick scheme, number one, the promise is usually astronomical, right?
Oh yeah.
The promise is usually something that's outrageous and like you know way off the charts.
And they want
You
you to
know,
move
you're
fast.
you're gonna make millions. Hey, I make $10,000 a month. I make $10,000 a week. And I see these things in my feed a lot. Also,
Hmm.
another thing is either there's no money involved or there's always money involved. There's
Yeah.
always money involved, and it's usually something that ends with a 99. That's
Hmm.
that's that's involved. And I mean, trust me, they'll catch you. They'll catch you. They'll catch you. Because I mean,
Yeah.
they seem very convincing. My
Yeah.
question I always ask myself when I see these guys, when I see these ads on Facebook and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, buy this program, jump into this thing, and you're gonna make $10,000 in your first month." Hey, look at these examples. Hey, look at me. I made $30,000 this month. Look at my check and all this stuff. And I look at those and I'm like, I can't imagine having something that's worth potentially billions of dollars, and I'm just giving it away to everybody. And I think I'm a nice guy. I think I'm a nice guy, but I can't imagine myself doing that. So my
But
question always is, why is
mhm.
this person selling me his method for making money? Why is he selling it to me? What's the reason? Either it's not going to be working for much longer, meaning like some regulation coming down on it,
Mhm.
or it's a lie.
Yeah. And most times it is just that. It's a lie. And you know what? Um, I think what it boils down to, because we do need to start wrapping up the show. What it boils down to is what you said about the biblical lesson. And I would love to dig deeper into a lot of on that side too as well, because they killed Christ for a reason, and it had to do with profit. So like I say, this is nothing new. Um, what it boils down to is there are some get rich methods that aren't schemes. You feel me? Um, you have some teething has been going on. That's stealing my international audience. But people out there teething ideas are can be a get rich quick method, right? And you just need to know how to position your ideas very quickly. You as a man who is in a slow race to profit with the gym, because you don't say walk into my gym and walk out with muscles.
Right.
You feel me? And if you could sell that, you would be very, very rich like that. But the reality is financial stability in a legal way that's going to keep you from the prison where the armored truck robbers are going. It's going to keep you out of prison. It's going to stop you from spending 150 years behind bars like Bernie Madoff's. Um, or unless you have a family who are multi-billionaires and could get away like what's the dude who was just extradited from the Bahamas the other day, and is on trial, and I think he home now on some multi-million dollar bail.
Yep.
Like, it is a slow race to financial stability, a daily achievement of smart choices. I don't know if you agree, you disagree.
I agree because you have to differentiate between accumulating wealth quickly and financial stability. because they don't always go together. You can accumulate wealth quickly and not be financially stable
Hmm.
by what you just said, making a lot of dumb choices.
Yeah.
You see? And the
Yeah.
perfect example is again them the guys who robbed the
Thief.
armored truck. They were millionaires like that, and now they're not.
The minute they got to
Right?
buy something, got it.
Now they're not. So I mean, so there's a you mentioned risk earlier. I think my wife said that what she said. What's the term again? The businessman who's okay with risk, not risk averse. The opposite of risk averse. I don't remember, but
Mm.
I'm the opposite of risk averse. I'm willing to take risks. Um, even though I try to be as calculated as possible. And you said
Yeah.
something earlier that you have to take risk to achieve
Oh
wealth,
yeah. Hmm.
right? And usually the level of risk is on par with the level of wealth. Again, perfect example, the armored truck. Huge risk,
Yeah. Yeah.
humongous risk. And they actually pulled it off. They just did something dumb, right? So I I think I have made a very good choice in the person that I attach myself to my life, because since I'm the person who loves risk and she's risk averse, she tends to keep me balanced. And I believe that balance is the most important thing. You can't be too far on the risk.
True.
So I'm not robbing any armored trucks, I'm not robbing any banks. That's dumb. All right. At the same time though, you can't just go to a job and work every day for the rest of your life and think you're going to end up in life a key. That's not going to happen either. So
Right.
you have to calculate, you got to calculate some type of risk, and you have to take that. And most things that you have to not be afraid to take it. And most of those things that look like they're too good to be true are usually too good to be true. They usually are, or they come with a level of risk that's not worth it, the amount of money. Because $1.5 million ain't enough for me to risk going to jail for life. That's not enough. You gotta come with more money than that. 1.5 billion, okay, I may think about it. Now you're talking. But 1.5 million, I no money, bro. You know how fast I can spend that? You know how fast I can spend that. If I pay off
Not
my house, that's
not in
gone.
Fee's house. Yeah. Yeah.
If
That's
I'm
true.
saying if I pay off my house, that money is half gone. So come on, I can spend 1.5 million ain't a lot of money to me. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
Let's raise that a little bit more for me to take a crazy illegal risk like that. Yeah. So I'm saying what the point I'm making is the level of risk you take has to equate to the level to the activity.
Gotta make
Um
sense.
um my days of trying walking down the street in what's the area name in North Miami Beach trying to sell pizza coupons. Like I've done those things, bro. I've done the pizza coupons, I've done the perfume, I've done the travel thing with the travel
You
where you
are a
tell people
serial
that
entrepreneur.
I've done those things. I've been involved in that stuff. So I see um I've experienced losing money doing those things. So
Hmm.
I know what that feels like. I know what
Yeah.
that feels like. So no one can get me to do something like that again. Any risk that I take is a calculated risk that I'm going to determine for myself, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to use some formula to determine what's my potential. And it's also going to be, I also don't want it to be a one shot thing. It's, we're not playing blackjack here.
Yeah.
I'm expecting for it to be something that my grandchildren can benefit from. That's the idea,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
And
that's a long race. Maybe it is, but I'm more comfortable with that.
you out of jail with that. Um, next week. Next week, speaking about taking risk and losing money, I would like to discuss Black Friday, and we'll also dig into Thanksgiving. Yeah, I want to have a bit some and get some hard conversations out of the way before we move into Christmas and the New Year's, where we'll again have a show on New Year's resolutions, and we will again talk about the origin of some of these holidays, and the purpose and what they mean for what they. Well, actually, I ain't telling anybody what to believe. Like that's like how I am with weave, like fake hair and stuff. Like do what you want to do. Do what you want to do with your life. But I would like to have conversations and give people an opportunity to meet us in the comments. There's some things that you may want to talk about. We'd love to talk about them with you, and you can bounce the ideas off us. We always here every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. It is the Sup'm Show. That is episode 61. Get rich quick schemes. Next week is Black Friday and Thanksgiving. We talk about it. Doc?
Greetings, Bahamas. Thank you very much for joining us. Always great to have you with us. And remember, if it sounds too good to be true, the Bible said a fool and his money are quickly separated. So be very careful.
Mind your dollars. They can cost you cents. Peace out, y'all. Oh, sorry. JP couldn't be with us because he's making money the long way, the long hard way. He's actually on the job, doing some fancy dancy style of floor laying. So he does apologize to all his fans who's looking to see his beautiful face. He'll be back next show. He says he'll be back next show. Don't cry. He doesn't want you to cry. And Ants is actually she is busy doing a motherly thing of styling some hair. So talking about hair remind me about that. All right, so peace out, y'all. See y'all next week.